Alrighty guys, hey, it's Daddy here, and I just want to start as always by saying thank you for taking interest in my channel, and I really hope the content provides useful for you. If it is, I'd really appreciate if you hit that like and subscribe button so I can continue to grow and provide more quality content. And if you really enjoyed the content, you might even consider buying me a coffee, and the information for how to do that will be in the video description below. So, now I got fun stuff out of the way, let's get into today's topic. Alrighty guys, how's it going? Today we're going to do part 6 in the Home Lab server setup series, and we're going to be focusing on SSH keys today and how to add those so that we can more easily and securely communicate with our server. Okay, so first thing that I want to talk about is there are some different kinds of SSH keys. So RSA is the most widely used. It's also the easiest to crack, but I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, it probably in the foreseeable future will become breakable, but you can always change your keys at that time. But the reason I like it is because all SSH clients support it, and some of the other ones they do not. Like for example, DSA, digital signature algorithm, or ECDSA, elliptic curve digital signature algorithm, are not supported by all SSH clients. Although the keys are smaller and harder to crack, and there's a lot of nice benefits for these other approaches. And there's even ED25519, which is new, and it has the least support, but it is the hardest to crack. So anyway, just an overview that you have options if you want them, and based on your security needs, you can choose kind of accordingly. But for me, I'm going to choose RSA because I just want it to be compatible with everything, and I want a decent level of security because I don't have anything groundbreakingly, earth-shatteringly important on this server at the moment. So anyway, here's the command. So this is the command we're going to use. It's ssh-keygen -t RSA-b 4096. So -t specifies the type. So we're going to go with RSA, and then B flag specifies the bit size, or the size of the key that we're generating. So the larger the size, the more secure your key is going to be. And I believe that 2048 is the default, so we're going to be twice as secure. We're going to go twice as large as the default here. Okay, awesome. So and this should come a default installed on Windows 10 and 11, on Mac operating systems as well, and then it's really easy to install on Linux, but it doesn't already come set up default there. So just a note on that. Okay, now the next thing, this is going to generate it in the wrong spot. So for us, we want it to live, or all of our key pairs to live in this folder, SSH. So as you can see, I've already got public and private keys in here from previous things that I've done. And you can really put it anywhere that you want. I just think it's nice to keep everything in the same place. So I'm going to put mine here. By default, it's going to put it one folder up in this spink folder, or I guess your home directory, wherever that is for you. So I'm going to change the file path, or the output, and we're going to put it in because it's already going to put it in our home directory, so we're just going to put it in .ssh, and then I'm going to name it the same thing as my server, so I don't get confused, Ubuntu 2204, and boom, we're going to generate the key pair. And you can add a public passphrase if you'd like. I don't really want that level of security and hassle, so I'm just going to leave it blank. And there we go. Keys generated. So let's go check that it actually created in the right spot. And nice, there we go. So there's our private key, there's our public key. Excellent. So the next thing we want to do is now we want to get this onto our actual server. So I'm going to go ahead and create another pane, this Alt+ there. Nice feature of the Windows terminal here. And now I want to log on to the server. So I think it's SSH SDK. There we go. SDK at its private IP address. So awesome. We're gonna do that. Type the password in. Excellent. Now we're logged in. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to put this in our known host file. So if we go to our home directory, we are already here, and we do ls-a, sorry, you'll notice there is a .ssh folder. So we're going to cd into the .ssh, if I can type today, .ssh folder, and we're going to see there's an authorized keys file. So what we want to do is we want to take the contents of our public key and we want to put it in this authorized key, basically telling SSH that we are allowing or we are authorizing this key to be used for login via SSH to our server. So first thing we got to do is we have to copy this over to our server. So I'm going to use pscp, and as you can see, I've already done this once already. But so this is where our key is stored currently. So in my home folder .ssh, and then we're copying the public key. Be careful that you definitely don't want to copy the private key, just the public key here. And then we're logging into the server, and then we're depositing it in, again, this defaults to the home directory in the .ssh folder here, and with the same name. So that's all that command does. And, oh, okay, so it doesn't like that. Alrighty guys, so what we're going to do just to solve this issue is it should work if I just copy the exact file path. So we're going to say pscp. I'm going to go here to the file, and I'm going to copy the exact path, paste it in, and then we want to provide the path to the server. So that's 192.168.68.69, I think. Yeah. Okay. And then home directory and .ssh and then .sdk ubuntu 2204.pub. Okay, excellent. So hopefully this command will work now. That's a good sign. Okay, excellent. So finally I've got it copied over onto the server. ls, cool. So now I got the public key in the right spot, and we need to copy its contents into the authorized key file. So what we're going to do for that is we're going to cat, and then we want SDK Ubuntu, and then we want to append that to the authorized keys file. Excellent. Cool. So that should be done now, and what we can do is sudo nano authorized keys, and we should be able to check that out. And by the way, I know this is, you should never show anybody any of your keys. All the public keys fine, but I'm going to change this after this video anyway. So anyway, so what you can see here is they copied this line, this giant key, into our authorized keys folder, and then it tells us what user it is associated with. So that should work. Okay, so now I've cleared off everything, and I've got my Windows machine here, and I've still logged into the server over here. And what we're going to do is now we're going to test everything and make sure that it works. So I'm going to say SSH. This is the command I used earlier. I'm going to remove this A here. And so everything should work. So we're SSHing in. We're pulling the identity file that we created with our private key. And then we're logging into the same server. So let's make sure that it works. Excellent. So cool. We now are able to SSH successfully into our server. One problem though. So let's just clear all this off and exit back to Windows. So what if I specified the wrong file? Well, it's still going to ask me for my password, and if I log in, I'm still going to be able to log in. So what I'm trying to get at here is you still have the ability to use the old password that we set, the old less secure password. So what we want to do is we want to disable this and some other things so that we are not able, or we can only use SSH keys to log in. Now, again, this is, if you don't want to do this, this is totally fine, but for me, I'm just going to try to make things a little bit more secure by forcing anybody that logs onto my server to be allocated a public and private key for ease of access and also for added security. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and we're going to make sure that we're in the etc ssh folder, and we are going to change some config files. So sudo nano ssh underscore config. And the first thing, we've set password authentication to yes. We are going to set this to no. So there we go. That's one change. Now we want to go back into ssh deconfig. And let's see, we want to specify yes, we want public key authentication. We want it from these files. So the ss.ssh authorized keys, and then secondarily we can have authorized keys too. You know, really you can make this wherever you want, but this is the default locations. Let's see what else. All right, so password authentication here we want to set to no. This is kind of redundant, but I'm going to set permit empty passwords also to no, just to be extra explicit. And then PAM, I'm also going to set this to no. Let's see, anything else? Okay, that should do it here. Save. And then one thing, I was setting all this earlier, and then I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. And so it turns out there's one more thing that you have to do, or you should at least check to see if it's this way on your machine. But we want to go into ssh-d config d, and then we want to sudo nano and check this file out. So if you notice here, it has password authentication, yes. And I suppose this is loaded at the end, so it overwrites the other password authentication no variable. So what I would do is either just delete this or change it to no. So we're just going to change it to no for now. And then we'll save it. There we go. Just double check there. Excellent. So Control S, Control X. Okay. So now that should have disabled, or should be the right configurations to disable the password login, and we need to now reset the service. So sudo service ssh restart, and then we'll double check that it's working with the status command. Cool, so it's running. All right, now let's try this again. So if I try to log in with the wrong password or the wrong file, it says permission denied public key, meaning I need to use public key. It's no longer allowing password login. And you can try the same thing if you try to log in as root. Well, my root doesn't have a public key, but you know, so same deal. You can't log in as root. You can't log in as or log in with password anymore. So that's it for this one, guys. I'm going to show another video here in a little while where it integrates all this with VS Code, so you can use a nifty extension and basically SSH in all your servers and work in them with VS Code. And I do this all the time. It's one of uh, the best, I guess, performance boosts that I've found in a while. So I'll show you guys how to set that up in a later video. But this is the basic level of setup. Anyway, guys, thanks for your time today, and I'll see you in the next one. Alrighty, guys, that about does it for today. If you like the content, please consider giving me a like and a subscribe so I can continue to grow and produce better and better content for you. And if you really like the content, you might even consider buying me a coffee, and the information for how to do that will be in the video description. If none of that sounds good, at least just give me some feedback in the comments. Let me know how I'm doing, if anything's unclear, or if there are things that I can improve on. But above all, guys, thanks again. Appreciate you watching, and have a great rest of the day.